Hello, this is another US Geoguessr professor video where I give you some strategies, some gameplay tips, some hints, some analysis into my thinking in US Geoguessr. I'm a United States geography expert and a GeoGuessr enthusiast. Today, we are going to be playing in West Virginia. I'm a little bit nervous. This is likely going to be one of my hardest games. West Virginia is tough, it's rural, it's very mountainous. We're using this West Virginia AI generated map. And I chose this because of its difficulty. The number one high score is only 22,979. So anything over 23K on this map, I would be number one. That's a really tall order, though. But I hope to teach you a little bit about West Virginia and give you some local knowledge to help your US Geoguessr game. See where we start. Okay, I think we get lucky because it looks like we're on an interstate. Interstates are always going to be a little bit easier to pinpoint. If it's not an interstate, it's going to be a divided state highway of some kind. So I would expect that we are going to be pretty easy here. Exit 11 to 10, Hal Greer Boulevard, downtown, 2 miles. Okay, so it looks like we are approaching one of the bigger cities of West Virginia. Hal Greer Boulevard. I tell you, this is going to test my West Virginia knowledge. Hal Greer Boulevard in downtown. Exit 11. That is interesting. Usually if we were on an interstate, in the U.S., in most states in the U.S., the exits would be going up or down based on where we were in the state. So, for example, look here, we're going southeast towards this Hal Greer Boulevard, downtown, Route 10. Notice that Route 10 is square, so that is going to be a West Virginia state highway. You can't really tell it here off this exit, but typically those square West Virginia state highways are going to have this thick black outline, and it's going to have the thick black lettering. I think we got a pretty easy first round. This is a good way to start in West Virginia. So we're going southeast towards Hal Greer Boulevard in downtown. Just the fact that it even says downtown. There are very few cities in West Virginia of really any appreciable metropolitan size. One would not really even think there would be an exit towards the downtown of very many West Virginia cities. The biggest ones are Huntington, here in southwest West Virginia, obviously the capital Charleston. And so a bunch of West Virginia population is going to be in this 64 corridor in between Charleston and Huntington. If you see things that weirdly look like suburbs in West Virginia, you might be somewhere in through here. Tays Valley, Dunbar, Nitro, these are all kind of suburbs in between Charleston and Huntington. But since we have exit 11, that means we have to be somewhere near the border of West Virginia. That means we're only about 11 miles in to West Virginia. The Hal Greer Boulevard is what made me initially zoom in here on Huntington, because I think that's where we are. Route 10, Hal Greer Boulevard, yep. So we're 2 miles away from that exit going southeast. So it looks like we are on Interstate 64. We've just come out of Kentucky, around Ashland, Kentucky, and we're, since that's exit 11, it looks like we're 9 miles into West Virginia on 64. We saw a sign in the distance for what looked like a rest area or a welcome center of some kind. Yeah, so here's exit 11 to Hal Greer. We are 2 miles west of that, yeah. So it looks like we are approaching, what exit would this be? 5th Street Road. Has to be the exit that way. Yeah. Northwest, southeast, I think that would fit. Exit 11. But notice that there's not very many parts of 64 here going southeast. There's like some curves right through here, so I would venture to guess. So that rest area is maybe in a mile. The exit's in 2 miles. Okay, that would make sense. That would put us somewhere around here on 64. Does this look like a good plonk? We have to be past this previous 5th Street exit. I might be tempted to even go a little bit more like this. A little bit even more past there. Yeah. Now, we were on this side of 64, just south of Huntington. It was the Hal Greer Boulevard downtown. Just the fact that it said downtown, we had to pretty much be in Huntington or Charleston, possibly Morgantown. But I think this is where we are in West Virginia, south of Huntington. Cool. Okay, didn't 5K. That's okay. That AI-generated map isn't really pinpointable, especially when we're on the interstate like this. But once I zoom out, I'm happy with that guess. I mean, I should have maybe gone a little bit farther up the road, of course, but that's a great start. That's a start that might lead us to a high score on this map. Although, let me not get too hasty here. We get a very, very typical West Virginia rural valley round. So we're deep in this mountain valley. Almost all of West Virginia can look like this, to be perfectly honest. Lots of residential West Virginia are going to be down in these river valleys, down in these hollows, these hollers in between the hills. So everything about this is West Virginia. Such typical West Virginia rural housing. Scattered outbuildings, what looks to be like multiple generations of mobile homes here on the same property. This, oh man, these people are even taking a swim in that above ground pool. That's very West Virginia. Just the fact that we have like all these properties with like multiple cobbled together buildings, that's just so West Virginia. Now, unlike that last round south of Huntington, I think we are gonna, really be forced to move here. We don't have any clues. We don't know really where we are. We're just down in a generic West Virginia mountain valley. While I'm moving, I might just begin to speculate about region guessing West Virginia a little bit, which is so difficult. Looks like we're super rural. Looks like those houses we passed weren't even really part of an incorporated community. They might be. If we go farther down the road, we see some more houses that are a little bit more built up, but this is a typical little West Virginia small town. It's spread out throughout a valley. It doesn't have any kind of businesses, like at all. Any businesses that might have been here are, long abandoned. The most we will likely get in a town like this is a church. And those churches, especially, many times in West Virginia, will help you identify where you are. If we're real lucky, we're going to get a post office. Because it looks like we're in a place that is populated enough to maybe qualify as a little incorporated community, but we haven't found any signs that would indicate that yet. This might be a long round. I might have to talk about West Virginia for a while here. Where would this be reminiscent of? I mean, certainly the mountains are tall enough that we could be in really the high part of the mountains, over around Elkins, West Virginia. This is where I'm talking about here. The mountains do get very high around here. This is also a pretty low income part of the state, although West Virginia is very low income as a state. It's very low educated compared to a lot of the rest of the states. And this is not throwing shade at West Virginia. It's just accepting reality. I mean, we're really in one of the most impoverished regions of America here. Okay, welcome to Greenview Park. Nice. So, this is going to be really helpful. Greenview Community Park. So it does look like we are in a little town. Isn't that amazing? Like, we come from deep forest into like an urban park. Ah, man, West Virginia is so difficult. It's so rural. Operated by Boone County Parks and Recreation Commission. Welcome to Greenview Park. Okay, we are nowhere near Elkins. It was giving me those vibes, but Boone County is way south of Charleston. Let's see if I can locate where Boone County is. Williams Mountain, Prenter, Gordon, all of these are little towns in Boone County. We are directly south of Charleston. So same kind of mountains. In these high mountains, we would be in this most likely south or southeast part of the state. But in Boone County, we are somewhere around this area. Madison, I believe, is the county seat of Boone County. But I am very sure that these towns, Van, Williams Mountain, Prenter, I'm very sure that these are Boone County towns. Greenview Park, Greenview Community Park. What cities or little towns in Boone County would be big enough to have like a little park like this and to be this, I hate to say urban, but I mean like this is a park, like a little city park, a little town park. So we're approaching, as we go southeast, somewhere that's pretty urban. Could we be in Madison or Danville? Yeah, see, up here to the northeast, Boone Career Technical Center. Danville. There's Boone County, West Virginia, on that line there. I'm starting to wonder, is Logan in Boone County as well? I don't think so. If we see Boone County, yeah, we're in this area, that's for sure. Looks like we might be approaching Madison? Look at that, there's a town called Unida, where the blushing magnolia is, Unida. So could we be somewhere near Unida, West Virginia? This is a very, very strong example of a West Virginia secondary state highway sign. I don't think they're called county highways, but they're like the county equivalents. And you see the round sign and the fractional designations, 119 over 50. Is that something that would help us at all? I think it does, because if we notice US Highway 119, we see a lot of these secondary roads coming off of that, 11913, 11909, 11906. 04, 03, so this is helpful. So sometimes these secondary roads are clustered together. We're at 119.50. Could that help us at all? So obviously we're somewhere off of 119. There's 119.10. 119.50. There we go. 119.50. Dunlap Road, Dunlap Lane. Now it says Dunlap Street. Yeah, there's Dunlap Street. Okay, so we were a little bit farther south in Boone County. Looks like we're headed into this little town of Greenview. Okay, cool. Dunlap Street. There was Big Branch. Greenview Lane. Yeah. Was that going off to Greenview Park? Has to be. So that would put us there. Danny Stallings. Yeah, we are up here. Big Branch. We're along Big Branch. Somewhere on 119.10. Headed into Greenview, because there's 119.50. So notice that a lot of those 119s, they're around US Highway 119. So what I'm thinking is, I thought that these secondary state highways came off of other state highways. And I think that they used to. So what I'm guessing is this 17, this might used to have been State Route 119. But at any rate, we found it. How far up 119.10 are we, though? That's kind of the question. We're going to head back east. It looks like we're going around this little turn. Where is Big Branch? So notice how 119.10 follows this Big Branch. Okay, so while we kind of scope this out, how did I get here? Well, I'm going to admit Boone County's really close to my home. This is my ancestral homeland. I wasn't born and raised in West Virginia, but most of my family is from West Virginia, if you couldn't tell because of my accent. And I just knew where Boone County was. Madison, I'm beginning to be more convinced that's the county seat of Boone County. But just down in these really twisty roads due south of Charleston. I've been around here before. The architecture really fits. Boone County is, I want to say, unfortunately, one of the poorest counties in West Virginia. This is at the very least one of the poorest regions of West Virginia. So just these kind of houses that we initially encountered really are making me think. Okay, so we're going mostly northeast. Then we turn to the east. Do we cross this Big Branch at any point? A lot of times in these rural West Virginia rounds, we have to reckon where we are. See, I'm going to start talking like a West Virginian if we spend any more time here. You have to kind of figure out where you are based on these branches of creeks. Yeah, is that even the creek itself? Sadly, it might be. Big Branch. So then we start going east, southeast, and we get this little, yeah, I would say we're probably right around here. Because we started going east, southeast, we get more houses here with these driveways. You see these little like stub roads going off to the north, which would totally make sense. Where's Danny Stallings? See that? You get this like guy who's maybe even like just running a little business out of his house. East, okay, turning back maybe to the northeast. I'm just going to try to get just a little bit more sense of how far up this road we are. I'm really convinced we're on this 119.10 because we found 119.50. We know we're in Boone County. Yeah, so there's this cluster of houses and this cluster of driveways there. I'm going to guess that that is this. So that would mean we're somewhere, maybe right about here, because it looked like on the origin we were headed due east-west, but then it turned up to the northeast. So where would that be? Like here. Yeah. Oh, look, that would totally fit. This property with all of those buildings. Look at all of those buildings. This would totally fit. Big Branch Road, 11910, way northwest of the town of Greenview. 5K'd it. Wow, I wasn't expecting a 5K, and it did take a little bit long, but I'm so proud of that. We narrowed it down to Boone County, and then we figured out exactly where we were. I am going to just take a minute to savor that 5K in southwestern West Virginia. That's one that's like, I don't think that I would have found if I wouldn't have known Boone County so intimately. Looks like another very difficult round. Why couldn't we get dropped on an interstate like in Huntington or Charleston? Now I see why this AI generated map is so rough. It's not pinpointable. Really wasn't expecting that 5K. That was a tough 5K for sure. But glad to get it in such a rural round. Now, yeah, obviously everything's going to look like West Virginia here, but we get a different landscape with a bunch of... It's not helping me move very quickly, unfortunately. Excuse me. First sign we get isn't very helpful. Although it does look like we're getting into just a little bit of civilization. Kind of like that last Boone County round. It's like when we started off, we're like, oh crap, absolute middle of nowhere. But we keep moving and we keep getting a few signs. Oh man, this person has even put their address on their mailbox. We gotta be able to get a good look at that. Something Falls, West Virginia. 284 Agape Street, Grape Street, Badger Hills, Badger Falls. Where are we? Dangerfield? Does that say Dangerfield? Something. Man, we can't get... Who puts their full address on their mailbox like this? We can't get a clue like this and just keep going, right? But it's so hard to read. Dangerfield. I swear that says Dangerfield, West Virginia. Like Rodney Dangerfield. Are they getting no respect? Sorry, these are horrible jokes. Probably you don't even, get them half the time. Are the people of Stone Street just getting no respect? I don't know. Something Field, West Virginia. Jersey Field, Runner Field. What does that say? Well, at least we're in something that's like a municipality. That's good news, right? Let's see if we get lucky and get maybe some more of those state secondary highways. Maybe we get into a little bit more of a town. That'd be nice. The mountains are about, for lack of a better word, aren't as mountainous as the ones we were just looking at. So I'm still thinking southern or southeastern part of the state. I think it's just we're in fall coverage rather than perhaps spring or summer. There, I won't spend too much time on that, but that's a lovely Confederate flag. While I'm moving, that inspires me to maybe even give you a little bit of West Virginia history. West Virginia was originally part of the Confederacy, but West Virginia is the most staunchly anti-Confederate state in the Union. We literally broke away from Virginia because we didn't want to be part of that anymore. So for a West Virginia resident to be flying that flag shows that they really don't know anything about West Virginia history. I would like to tell them to, look at the Wheeling, just look up, Wheeling Convention on Wikipedia, what happened in 1862, 1863 in West Virginia. Okay, well, enough of that, but it does look like we're coming out of this kind of holler, right? We're going lower, maybe we'll get more clues, maybe we'll get a sign. Here is a sign, that's nice. Harper's Chapel, Church of the Brethren. Harper's Chapel. Could that have said Harper's Field or even Harper's Ferry? Does that make any sense? Here's Harper's Ferry in extreme northeastern West Virginia. Like, it's plausible, given this foliage, given this terrain, that we're over in that area, but wish I could have read that mailbox a little bit better. Harper's Chapel, okay. We might have to move for a while. We're getting more and more clues, though. It's getting better. It's getting better. Area codes, remember, don't help us at all in West Virginia. There are 2 area codes now, but the vast majority of them are going to be 304 area codes. Darlene's tax preparation. I hope Darlene can help you with your taxes. Once we figure out where she is, shout out to Darlene, the accountant. Can't imagine that being an accountant would be an especially I guess everybody needs taxes done, but just have a hard time envisioning how people have careers like that out in places like this in West Virginia. I guess it's the age of the internet. Cool, we're coming towards a main road. Maybe we can move on and have me stop rambling about West Virginia. But hey, that's why you're watching. That's why I'm playing. Want to give you this West Virginia knowledge. Lost River State Park Road. Okay, let's take a look at this sign. 12. Now, that tells me that is a major secondary state highway, 12. Because remember in the last round, or I think it was the first round, we saw, oh no, it was totally the last round. We saw those like fractional ones. So like 119 over 10, 119 over 50. Those are secondary even to these roads. So one number state highway roads. Okay. Mill Island. 4-H Club. Mill Island. Okay, very interesting. Where could we have islands in West Virginia? Moorfield. Moorfield is towards the northeast. Okay, Mill Island, Secondary State Road 12, Harper's Chapel. 12 should be relatively easy to locate, I would think. Because, like I say, it's one of those major round roads. It's not one of the secondaries, like it's one of these. could even be one of these, although I would expect that to be a state highway. 12. Okay, let's reevaluate. What clues do we have so far? We're in somewhere where there could possibly be an island. That would lead me to think Ohio River. I know there are islands in the Ohio River, especially around Huntington. So, since West Virginia is not on the coast, right? I mean, there can't be very many places where there are islands. If you look down here at Huntington, I believe there's an island in the river. Okay, maybe not. Let's go up to North West Virginia. See, if we look at Wheeling, there's Wheeling Island. So there are a few islands that are in the Ohio River. Are there islands that are over here that could possibly be on the Potomac River? Yeah, definitely. Burns Island or the Shenandoah River. Yeah, there could definitely be some islands over there. Where would 12 be? I see 9 over there in the northeastern panhandle. Don't know why I'm looking so much over there, though. Maybe just the Harper's Church got me really thinking about Harper's Ferry. Haven't even placed a pin yet. Sorry, I think we might be in for a little bit of a long round. I don't have even a county. We know that we're near Mooresville in Route 12. Lost River State Park. Why do I not know where Lost River is? I think it was actually Moorefield. So Moorefield was to this direction. And I would venture to guess that Moorefield is a pretty big place. Okay, Moorefield, 12. Moorefield or Mooresfield? 12. 12 is not what we're on, but we came off of 12. We're headed north, it looks like, into Mooresfield. North or northeast? Harper's Church. Wish we could get a county. That would be helpful. Don't know where Moorefield or Mooresfield is. Things are looking, though, a little bit agricultural. So if we were somewhere in the Ohio River Valley, that would track. There's a lot of these farms. There's a lot of this agricultural land because here in like north of Charleston, Huntington, in this Ohio River Valley, we got a lot of this kind of like farm country here, especially like in Mason County, I know. So that to me would be a possibility. I'm feeling kind of guilty though. Why do I not know where Mooresfield is or Moorefield? I feel like that may be a little bit bigger than I think. I would expect that maybe to be because I feel like I've heard of it before. I would expect it to maybe even be at like this zoom level of the map. Parkersburg is, I know where there's islands. See, there's Neal Island. Neal Island, could that be what that sign said? So much of the time we're just lost in West Virginia. I'm thinking though, like, with this kind of farm country, with this kind of agricultural landscape, we may not be in the middle of the state. There's Moorefield. Okay, nice. Yeah, I was thinking we might even be over here in the Panhandle somewhere. And it looks like that's indeed where we are. There's Moorefield to the north. There's 220. There's South Fork Road. This is 12. Lost River Barn. Good, good. Lost River State Park. Howard's Lick Road. Okay, so it looks like if I would have just gone the other direction, I would have hit Matthias much more quickly. Isn't that always the way? We should have gone the other direction. Okay, there's Lost River State Park. We're getting close. As my West Virginian dad would say, now we're cooking with gas. Now we're cooking with gas because we found 12 where we come out here. There's Darlene taxes. There was Darlene's tax preparation. Nice, nice, nice. Sugar Camp Hollow. So it looks like this is 7 going into Mooresfield. But now the question is, how far up this Howard's Lick Road were we? So we went this way. Northwest. Did we not? Yeah. Should we go the other way and try to come out in Matthias? We were near Halterman's taxidermy studio. I'm going to go southeast because it looks like that's the direction I should have gone, even though it doesn't look like it. Looks like southeast is the direction I should have gone in the beginning. And then that would have dumped us out there in Matthias. Yeah, here's an intersection, or it kind of looks like one. Here we are swinging around. I hope you appreciate the natural beauty of West Virginia, coupled with my West Virginia accent. So, we're somewhere along that road for sure. We're somewhere along 12. I would venture probably like there. Because when we originated, we got some clues pretty quickly. I thought we got some clues pointing us to Lost River more quickly than going in that other direction towards Matthias. Here's some houses. If we zoom in on the map, do we see any sign of that? We do a little bit. Did we pass that Lost River barn? We must have. But I don't remember passing that. We definitely passed Darlene's tax preparation. And that was a while. So I would say, yeah, I don't remember going around these hard switchbacks. I don't. So I think that would put us maybe like somewhere around here. In this spot, we're going due north. Yeah, I don't think we're as deep into this kind of, we're not as far as this Lost River State Park. I don't think we hit these hard switchbacks, like at all. Yeah, this I remember was the first thing we came to. Stone. So, Lost River State Park Road, where's Stone? We're looking northwest. Stone goes like northeast-east. Gotta be able to find it. Helmick Rock Road. Howard's Lick Road. Is that Stone? See, the problem is a lot of these streets in West Virginia, they have names that are only known to the locals. You really have no clue where it is. There's Dove Hollow Park. I don't think we're this far. I think we're somewhere... I don't think we're even, like, this far. I think we're maybe, like... Stone. We may even be closer up here than I think. There's Harper's Chapel. I feel like Stone might be here. Deer Trail, Stony Run, Stone. So that means we're maybe more like here, or maybe more like there. Oh man, another 5K in super rural West Virginia. That was just going totally by feel. Wow, okay. Maybe number 1 on this map, after all. So we were southeast of Mooresfield, way up in extreme northeastern West Virginia, getting into the Panhandle. Where will seed 4 take us? Well, I can very safely say it looks like West Virginia, right? Do you see why West Virginia is so hard? Pretty much every one of these rounds have looked the same. Although to me, the difference with this one is it looks like the mountains are slightly lower. That was an equestrian sign. Wow, I'm still 2 5Ks in a row in very rural West Virginia. We couldn't pinpoint that interstate one, but somehow we pinpointed those rando rural roads. Wow, I'll take it. Here we see those real similar houses, those kind of trailer houses with the porches. So West Virginia, right? All right, Buffalo Creek Road, 5/19. So we can see that's one of the truly secondary of the secondary state roads. 5/19. So remember the formula. That would indicate that we're then somewhere near a regular secondary Route 5. So if we saw just 5 instead of 5/19, we might get pretty close. So where would 5 put us? And where would Buffalo Creek Road put us? Interesting. Now, I was just talking about that kind of western area that got a little bit less hilly and a little bit more agricultural. We could be there. Marshall Lane. Marshall and Buffalo. Those are two really West Virginia names. Buffalo. Buffalo Creek was the first one we saw. So there is a town of Buffalo, if we look, right in that region that I was just talking about in these last couple rounds. It's just north of Charleston, getting into, I think, Mason County. Then we have Marshall Road. Now, Marshall County, West Virginia, is up here. Moundsville is the county seat of Marshall County. So, do either of those street names have anything to do with those two West Virginia locations? Maybe not. So the first one was off of Route 5. This one, it looks like, is off of Route 33. Marshall Lane. Yeah, so 33. So we're somewhere near 33 and 5. If we could find circular Route 5, which is right here, we might be doing something. There's 5 coming out of Heaters. Okay. Little Kanawha Road, Rawlison. There's 3-5. Are any of these roads? Ooh, 35-4 in Burnsville. Is that? Was this a 35, Marshall Lane? I think that says 33. I think it says 33. We got to be relatively close to the 5 because we had 519 back there. Do we see 519 anywhere? Do we see 33 anywhere? So 5 keeps on a-going. 35, 16, 32, 3, 5, 5. I'm thinking we might be up in this area somewhere. In between Burnsville and Glenville. I think, though, I would be expecting it to be a little hillier. I think it would be more mountainous if we were around here. Like, here's more 5. There's 35, 35 too. Everything's kind of 35 around this Route 5. There's 33, though. So could we be somewhere around 33 and 5? I mean, that's what these signs are telling me. The more you learn these West Virginia secondary systems, the more you're going to be able to pinpoint where you are in the state effectively. So now we're going west, southwest on what really looks to be a pretty major road. Could this be 33? Roan Jackson, TC, Roan Jackson. Okay, there is a Roane County, West Virginia. There's also a Jackson County, West Virginia. Roane County. Wow, am I going to be able to locate Roane County as easily as Boone County? Unfortunately, I just don't think so. Roane and Jackson. Where are Roane and Jackson counties? I know my West Virginia counties, I just don't know where all of them are exactly. There's 55 of them. Some of them are unique. They're fairly easy to remember. Parking in cooperation with Frozen Camp WMA. Hunters welcome. It is getting a little bit more hilly. Okay, where is Roane County? I want to say Roane County is like up in this northern part of the state, up near Spencer, in between Charleston and Parkersburg. And that would make sense with the 519. It would also make sense with the 33 numbers, because 33 would be down here. US Route 33. Yeah. Ripley, around Ripley. There's 511, 512. Could we be on 33 going into Ripley? There's 513. We were at 519, right? Gay Allentown Road. 511, 28, 24. 519 was where we were at. There's 59, 510. Roane County High School. Nice. 513. 512. So does that mean we might be wanting to go this way? 514, 518. Looks like it. 520. So of course we skipped 519, but man, we gotta be somewhere in this area, right? Roane County, 33. Where does 33 go off? Does 33 still follow 119 there? Yeah, BP, Hildreth, Oil Supply, Spencer. We're continuing to go west. I think we might be somewhere around Spencer, east of Spencer. We are at 519 Buffalo Ridge, and then we are at Marshall Lane, which was a 33. And I swear on everything, that was a 519. 518. Why are we skipping 519? 516. Why do you gotta make it so hard, West Virginia? Why you gotta be so difficult? 2-2, 18-1, 5-4. Why are we getting like, why are we going down? Why is there so many 5-7s, 5-8s? Why are you so confusing? 119, 35, 19. I'm trying to figure out where 33 goes, because there's 33. 33 almost has to follow 119 there. Lockney, Newmantown. Yeah, 119 and 33 go together. So that's at least helpful. There, am I out where I thought we were before? Little Kanawha, Burnsville off the 5? No, because we know we're in Roane County. Gonna go back to where we saw Roane County. Was it Grantsville? There's the 5, Little Kanawha River. The 5, no, Spencer, I think, was pretty close to where we were. Where's Spencer? Spencer. Is Spencer Roane County? Roane General Hospital, Roane County High School. Yeah. So, I think we gotta be closer to Spencer. 5-1. 16-9. 5-11. Could we be getting into Ripley? 5-13, yeah. Could be getting into Ripley, most definitely. I think we would be more built up. I really do. Roan Jackson. I think we gotta be somewhere in this mix. I think this has to be 33, maybe 33, 119 we're looking at, just because it's so going east-west. I think we're in Roan County. I'd like to find just a little bit more, obviously. School, speed limit 15. Cool. Are we hitting a school? Yeah. Northeast, northwest. This road's so generally west. And if you look at that 33, 119, it's just so like curving everywhere. But yeah, we are on West 33, as I suspected. And we're not on 119. So we are in between Spencer and Ripley. Since we were going west the whole time, we may be much closer to Spencer than I thought. Rustic Acres Road, Ripley Road, Wright's Trailer Park, 512, Lions Fork. I'm zoomed in pretty good. Field Hollow Roads, Tover Fork Road, 57. There's 10 again. Man, there's so many similarly named roads. Ripley Road, Peniel Run. There's a joke there. Why are you not numbered, any of you? Milhoen Road. We need to find that Buffalo Trace and Marshall. There's Buffalo Creek. Nice. Okay. There's Buffalo Creek Road in 33. So there's Roan Jackson Technical Center. Got it. So let's go back to the beginning. Going northwest on 33, because we've just been on this road the whole time. We got to see what is the first intersection we come to. This took a while, I'm sorry. There's Buffalo Creek Road. So there's the 519. Notice, was that even numbered on the map, on Google Maps? Do we even know that's 519? We don't. We don't. I think this was match up, though. Buffalo Creek, we go over that little bridge. We need to find out how close we are to that little stub road. If we go east-southeast, we might be right at that little stub road. At any rate, we're somewhere here. And then it looks like that goes east, but curves around a little bit to the northeast. So maybe there. And then curving around, and leading into Buffalo Creek. I think we're maybe even a little farther. Okay, shouldn't have moved, but we got really, really close there on Route 33, in between Spencer and Ripley. Okay. 3 rural rounds, but that's to be expected from West Virginia. All right. Where am I in terms of score? Well, let's not worry about that. I think I can go number 1 on this map, though. We had a couple of 5Ks, and then our other 2 were pretty close. Hedgesville, Shepherd University. Remember, exit 16 looks like we're on an interstate. So that would lead me to believe, again, we are somewhere close to the border. It means we're 16 miles away from a border. Now, where is Shepherd University? It is going to be up here in the extreme eastern panhandle, if I am not mistaken. Near Shepherdstown? Yes, there's Shepherdstown. Is that where Shepherd's University is? Yes. So then that would mean we are on southwest. Could we be on 81? Looks like we could be. That's 10-1 Dry Run Road going towards Shepherd. Where would exit 16 place us if we were on Route 81? What road are we looking at? Hedgesville, exit 16 west, Shepherd's University, exit 16 east. So there's Shepherdstown. I have never heard of Hedgesville. There's Hedgesville. Is this exit 16? Hedgesville Road. I bet it is. I bet it is. And I bet we're at 81. And then that West Virginia Route 9 is, that's, no, yep, 9 West, Berkeley Springs. Does 9 West go to Berkeley Springs? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. 9 East, 9 West, yep. Okay, now one of my parting thoughts here, since we're almost done with West Virginia. Notice how that secondary state highway, or it's even a main state highway, it shows up as a circle on Google Maps, but it's a square on the actual street sign. That the state highway, the primary and secondary state highways are really hard in West Virginia. It's just, this has to be where we are, though. Don't go around freaking out looking for a 9 square. It's, that's just gotta be where we are. So we're half a mile from there. And so where we started was maybe a mile, right? Since I already moved, let's just go see what this sign says. Or was that the sign we were looking at? No, that wasn't the sign we were looking at. Okay, 16 east towards the woods. So we would be like, can we get a bead on anything that's close to us off this interstate? I don't think so. Do we even need the information on that sign? No, we don't. I would say we're about a mile northeast of that exit. So that would put us, yeah, right up. Okay, not a 5K, but 4988. That is great. Cool. Wow, I'm on AI West Virginia. I mean, I had to do a lot of moving, but under an hour for a 24,929, I will definitely take it. I mean, that blows away the record on this map. So I'm kind of also proud because there were a couple, like 3 and 5 up here around Mooresfield and up around Shepherdstown. This eastern panhandle of West Virginia, my knowledge there is very sparse. So I'm proud that I was able to pinpoint those locations. Then we had one in Boone County, one up there, one south of Huntington. So I got 2 5Ks out of that, and I managed to be number 1 on this map. West Virginia AI generated. I'm pretty proud of that. Yeah, under an hour, 24,929. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something about the very difficult state of West Virginia.